Hey, good morning guys. Tush coming at you. Saturday, April 15th, just after 9 a.m. And we are on T-minus 155, according to the calendar. So we better crack on. As I mentioned last night, we were just going to get the differential out and probably have to remove the exhaust to be able to do that, and the drive shaft. I think I've changed my mind a little bit, and I think we're going to leave that diff in there for some weight on the rear of the frame, and we are going to tackle the front suspension first. So I think what we'll do is we'll just center that frame a little bit more in the garage and get the front up on jack stands, remove those wheels, and get to it. So we'll take some videos along the way. Alright, we've got the frame pretty much centered in the garage, and we've got the tires off the car, so ready to go on the front end. First thing I'm going to do is take these fender stays off, because they are an accident waiting to happen. That you do not want to get in your shin. Trust me, your shin's not going to win. So we're just about ready to go, and we've got our tools assembled and our mats down and the garage floor swept. I think the first thing we're going to do is take off this radiator protection shield and also the bumper bars for starters, and then followed probably by the sway bar links. Obviously I need to take that sway bar off. It'll probably come off as part of the radiator protection shield. It's actually bolted in through the bottom usually. So I think we'll go ahead and do that, remove that and get that out of the way. It's less things to worry about when dismantling the front suspension. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll move on. Alright guys, quick update for you. The front sway bar, the radiator protection shield, and the front bumper brackets are off the car. They're always a bitch. The bolts tend to rust inside the frame, which makes it really difficult to get off. So there's all the components of that over there. And the sway bar. Came close to snapping this one off, I'd say. Can you, if you can see this? Look at the twist in that guy. So anyway, on to the next project. We're going to crack off those tie rod ends, and then we'll get to work removing probably the, I might remove the steering rack first, and then we'll continue on to the front suspension. Alright guys, just a quick update for you. 11:15 a.m. and we've got the steering rack off now. Slow going. Everything seems to be fighting me. They've obviously been on there in the car for quite a while, so some of the bolts are a little rusty and a little bit more difficult to get to than others. But it's going in the right direction. So there you go. There's the front of the car. Starting to be a little bit more open and visible now. So next thing for us to do will be to take the front springs out. That will entail me taking the shock absorber out first, and then fitting an internal spring compressor, and maybe I'll try to take a little video along the way of that, since a lot of people have questions about how to do the front suspension on these cars. I'm not sure if there's a video out there detailing on how to do this. I know I've done a few vids on my TR3, which is basically the same principle as this car. So anyway, we're going to take a bit of a quick break, and then we'll get out here and remove those shocks. Alright, 1:05, and the front springs are now out, and as always they prove to be a bit of a problem, because these little mounting brackets right there that fit on the bottom of the spring pan always want to rust to those studs on the bottom of the spring pan, and it always makes it a little bit difficult to get the shock out. So they definitely don't just drop out, unfortunately. So a little prying here and there, and a little tapping with a screwdriver, and a little persuasion, and we managed to get them out. So happy about that. So on to the next step, which is removing the coil spring. And as I mentioned before, this will entail the use of an internal spring compressor, which we have over in the trunk of the car, or the boot, if you want to call it that. So got it sitting here ready to go. Thanks John for dropping that back off for me. So unfortunately time for me to wrap it up for today and head off to my sister's. So we'll go inside and get cleaned up and go for Easter dinner, see the family, which is always a good thing, and not sure if we'll get out here later on tonight. We'll probably get out here later tonight and just do a quick wrap up, and obviously I haven't put my parts away yet, so we'll probably bag and tag all the parts that I took off at least. If not, maybe I'll even get a little bit of motivation to do a little bit more work on this car. We'll see. Anyway, probably at least one more update coming for today. Talk to you later. Alright guys, back out in the garage as promised. It's about 5 after 10 p.m. and we've got the TV on. We've got a good hockey game on between the Leafs and Washington, just going into overtime. So hopefully the Leafs will be able to pull one out. But they lost the last one in overtime, so we'll see what happens with that. So I just was going to come out and just sort of bag up and clean some parts up and put them in a bin, but I'm thinking I've got a little boost of energy and I might just go ahead and try to get one of these springs off at least for tonight and then call her done. So I think what we'll do is we'll pick up a few of the tools that we've got on the ground, and then we'll see how difficult it is to remove that spring. If all is going well, we'll stick at it, and if it looks like it's going to be a pain tonight, we'll just pack it in for the night and call it a night and get out here tomorrow. So anyway, we'll give her a shot. We'll see how easy that spring comes off, and like I said, we'll come back with an update towards the end of the night. Well, I said I wasn't going to expend a lot of effort on this side if it didn't come out cleanly, but we're still out here. We're just about to start the second period of overtime in the Leafs-Capitals game. Anyway, this bastard here will not come out. I've been hammering and hammering it, even with the big sludge from the bottom. I've got it to turn, but I cannot get it out. It's just rusted solid, seized in there. So I guess we're going to keep working at it. It's about all I can do. We'll probably either get it or give up. If I don't get it in the next 15 minutes or so, I think we'll call it a day and we'll come back out here tomorrow. Alright guys, it's beat me for tonight. I'm going to give up and walk away. I'm starting to do some damage to that spring pan. I'm starting to bend it slightly. I think I have some extra spring pan somewhere, but anyway, we're going to attack it tomorrow. Cooler heads will prevail. I'm getting frustrated with it, so time to go in for the night. Hockey game still on. Go Leafs, go. See you tomorrow. Have a good night. Thanks for watching. Hey, good morning guys. Touch coming at you. It's Easter Sunday. So happy Easter to those of you that celebrate Easter. Here we are on show T-minus 154. Got to update the calendar. So Leafs won in overtime, double overtime. So that's good. What else is good? Well, didn't get that spring off last night. It's still just hanging there. So we've got to work on that this morning. I think I'm going to spray some more penetrating oil on it. See if that'll help it out a little bit. I'm not sure why it's so stuck, but we'll get to that in a little bit. It's only about 9 o'clock in the morning, so we're not going to be pounding with a big hammer quite yet, especially on Easter Sunday. So I thought I might just come out here and do some sort of mindless jobs and listen to some tunes, enjoy the sunshine, and scrape some undercoating off. So I think we'll go to town on some undercoating this morning for an hour or two. And like I said, just listen to some tunes. So my preferred method for removing undercoating is just a heat gun and a couple scrapers, one flexible and one fairly stiff or not so flexible. That seems to do the job to get most of the undercoating off, and then I go back and clean up all the residue with brake cleaner. That works for me. Alright guys, about an hour and a half later, and we've got most of the undercoating off the wheel well. Again, we've just got some residual to clean up, and we'll do that with a wire brush in some areas, and like I said, brake cleaner in other areas. Let me just sit down here for a second. So, just going to get my light here. So you can see quite a few areas of repair. As I'd mentioned before, this car's had a lot of work done on it. Whole wheel well has been sort of brazed along the top. So, got some more brazing patches back here. Anyway, I'm sure this car spent most of its life in some southern Ontario, Canada, so it's probably seen a few winters. And I believe, actually, and I'll show you this when I work on the engine, I believe there's even a block heater in the engine block, which I haven't seen before. I've seen one other, but not of this type. It looks like it's a freeze plug type block heater. I've seen external block heaters that just sit on the outside of the block, but this one looks like it's actually in a freeze plug. So I'll show you that a little later on when we start to work on the engine. But anyway, there's what the inner fenders look like on the driver's side. I think what we'll do now is we'll probably just move up to the passenger side and continue on, probably until noon at least, and then we'll try to get that coil spring off the driver's side front suspension. I've just put some more penetrating oil on it, so hopefully that's going to be soaking in and helping out. Alright, we'll come back. And I thought I'd give you a before and after of the front driver's side. So here's obviously the before. Pretty heavily undercoated. And I know we're going to have some big gaping holes down under here, as I showed you before in the engine compartment where the clutch and brake masters sit. There's just put a plate in there, so I'm sure we'll uncover a big hole there. And I'm sure we'll find some more brazing in here at some point. Anyway, we'll get to it. At least we get to sit in the sun. Puddles are drying up. It's going to be a nice day. Alright guys, not sure if I took a quick video of this or not. I got summoned by Les to go and give him a hand with his Merkur XR4, so we just popped down to Les's place and now we're back. So there's the front inner fender done, and you can see all the undercoating that I scraped off of that. Got a few more little areas to clean up, but not too bad. So I think it looks okay. This one, obviously, as I mentioned, is going to need some repair down in this section. But for the most part, I think it looks pretty good. It probably looks a little less repaired than the rear of the car so far. Anyway, so just thought I'd give you a quick look at that. I'm going to probably move back to the front suspension for a little bit. I just gave it a quick tap with a sledgehammer again, and it's still not budging, so this is a real pain in the butt. So I may have to resort to getting the grinder out, although I don't think that's going to help me too much. So we've got to think what our next steps are. We'll come back. Alright guys, we're finally moving forward again after getting the grinder out. We had to grind the top of that bolt off to get it out. I didn't ruin it, but we're going to have to reshape the sway bar mounting bracket. It stretched a little bit, but for the most part, I think we're going to be okay. So now to get the rest of the suspension off the car, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it intact actually. So I'm just going to do undo the upper fulcrum bolts and then the lower control arm bolts, and we'll take that off as a whole complete unit. That's the plan anyway. So we'll see if we can get these rusty bolts out at the top of here without stripping them. They look like they've been there for quite some time, so they should be a little bit difficult to get out, I'm sure. Anyway, we'll get to it. We'll bring it back. Alright guys, so we've got the driver's side front suspension all ready to come off. And we've undone the mounting brackets to the frame. And again, note the number of shims if you're going back with your original frame. Looks like there's 3 on this side, and I'm not sure how many are on that side yet, but we're just about to remove this completely from the frame. So anyway, let's see if we can do this again one-handed through the magic of television. So, without hurting myself. One side's out. That's a lot of shims. We'll come back. Alright guys, she's off. And needs a pretty good cleanup. Repaint, rebush, retrunnion maybe. Anyway, we'll fix that up at a later date. Here's the shim packs I was talking about. So this is the rear of the driver's side. So we've got 6 shims there. And we've got 3 shims in the front. I just noticed you can actually see, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera or not, you can see a pretty good crack there in the mounting bracket just up in the left hand corner. So that's not good. I also noticed something funny over on this side. And I've been doing all this hammering and knocking a bunch of rust out of the frame. You can see the pile of rust here back in the center of the frame. It's starting to fall out. And if you notice here, see how you can see right through to the ground? I think something's missing below there. Alright, we'll get to that later. Oh, wait a minute. Hello. Alright guys, fresh off the success of the removal of the driver's side suspension, we're going to move on to the passenger side. And we're hoping that there's going to be nothing seized and this is going to be a piece of cake on this side. So let's see what happens. We'll get to it. Alright guys, just coming up to about 8 p.m. on Saturday evening. Can't remember whether I showed you the passenger side suspension's now off, but it is. Sorry if I've duplicated the video, but I can't remember sometimes when I go in and come back out of the house, so there you go. Anyway, must be getting old. I think what we'll do now is just looking for some quick projects to do, so I think what we'll do is we'll get in there and try to remove that drive shaft. So we'll spend another hour or two out here tonight. Get the drive shaft off, and then we'll be ready to pull the diff out. And then finally will be the engine and transmission, which we're getting closer to doing. That was my goal, to have this done by tomorrow. So anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll get that drive shaft out and get it out of the way. Before we get too far on removing this drive shaft, we want to make sure that we mark the two flanges. Usually I just put a file mark in it, so you know how to put it back orientation wise. Otherwise you're probably going to get some vibrations if you don't do that. So definitely mark it before you remove it. Okay guys, just coming up to 9:45 and time for an update. So I made a little bit of progress. We removed a couple of the remaining brake lines from the rear of the car that were mounted to the frame just in front of the differential. So those are off the car. You'll notice that the drive shaft is off. You'll probably notice that sitting beside the drive shaft is the header. So we removed the header, which also means that I removed the exhaust. And I needed to remove the exhaust in order to remove the differential tomorrow. So that's out of the way. So yeah, we had a pretty good little hour and a half or so out here, and just went a little crazy. And we started actually removing the starter, and then we just gave up for tonight. We're getting a little tired. So we're just bagging up our parts and recording things in our journal. So what I'll do is I'll do one more end of night recap, which covers the last 2 days actually, since I didn't upload yesterday. So we'll do that, and we'll come back with a quick journal overview. Alright guys, end of night journal update. And as mentioned, this is covering 2 days. So we'll start with Saturday, April the 15th, which was T-minus 155. And there's the list. And the bags of parts. Not a lot of bags. And then today, Easter Sunday, April 16th, T-minus 154. And we started today with removing the undercoating off the driver's side, which went pretty well. And then when we were allowed to make some noise, we finally got that front suspension taken apart on the driver's side, which was problematic, let's say. So, and then we continued on from there. Alright, so tomorrow's task will be to get the differential out and clean up a few little bits like the brake lines from the front of the car. Maybe remove the fuel line from running along the chassis rail, and possibly the brake line there as well, before we get to pulling the engine and transmission as a combination. So we'll try to get to that tomorrow, and that'll allow us to get the frame up on its side at least, so you can have a look at the underside, and I can give the garage a good, much needed sweep out. So that's it for tonight guys. We'll upload this, and like I said, we'll get out here tomorrow. Hope you had a good Easter. Thanks for watching.